Viewers, countrymen, patriots, welcome to a Republic Exposé unlike any other. Today, we embark on a journey, a yatra, into the heart of India's soul, its very DNA, the Constitution. This document, drafted in the aftermath of our hard-fought independence, holds the blueprint for our nation's destiny. But is it a destiny we are fulfilling? Today we dissect, we analyze, we confront the key features, functions and responsibilities that bind our union and our states. We will leave no stone unturned, no question unasked. This is not just about understanding the Constitution, but about understanding our very identity as Indians. Fasten your seatbelts, folks, because we are in for a bumpy ride. This is not your average, boring lecture. This is about our nation, our future, and it's time we stopped being passive spectators and demanded answers. 1947, a year etched in the annals of history. India, the jewel in the crown, finally broke free from the shackles of colonialism. But with freedom came the monumental task of forging a nation from a tapestry of cultures, languages, and aspirations. Enter the Indian Constitution, a document crafted by visionaries, giants who dared to dream of a united, prosperous India. But was this Constitution, this bedrock of our democracy, truly born from consensus? Or were there compromises made, voices silenced, agendas pushed? We the people have a right to know. This is not about disrespecting our forefathers, but about understanding the very foundation upon which our nation stands. From the towering figure of Dr. Ambedkar, the architect of our Constitution, to the fiery debates that raged within the Constituent Assembly, we delve into the crucible from which our nation was forged. We examine the core principles that underpin this document: secularism, socialism, democracy, ideals that seem increasingly distant in today's India. Was the vision of our founding fathers betrayed? Are we as a nation straying from the path laid out for us? And most importantly, who is responsible for this deviation? These are the questions that haunt our nation, questions that we will not shy away from. This is not just history, viewers. This is about our present, our future. The ghosts of 1947 still loom over us, their echoes reverberating through the corridors of power. It's time we confronted them. India, a land of unity and diversity. But does this unity come at the cost of our state's autonomy? The Constitution outlines a delicate balance between the center and the states, a tightrope walk that seems to be getting increasingly precarious. On one hand, we have the union government, wielding immense power, often accused of encroaching upon the rights of our states. On the other hand, we have states, some demanding greater autonomy, others struggling to meet the needs of their people. Parliament, the supposed temple of democracy, often resembles a battleground, with accusations of horse trading, corruption, and blatant disregard for the will of the people. State legislatures, meant to be closer to the grassroots, are often plagued by similar ills. The question we need to ask is this federal structure, this grand experiment, working? Are the voices of the states being drowned out by the deafening roar of the center? And what about the people, the citizens of this nation? Are their voices even being heard? We delve into the labyrinthine corridors of power, exposing the machinations, the power struggles, the unholy alliances that shape our nation's destiny. This is not about taking sides, viewers. This is about holding a mirror to those in power and demanding accountability. For decades, power has been concentrated in the hands of the few, the elite, the Delhi Durbar. But the Constitution promises a different India, an India where power flows from the grassroots, where the common man has a say. Devolution, the transfer of power from the center to the states, further down to the panchayats, was envisioned as the panacea to India's ills. But has it lived up to its promise? We travel across the length and breadth of this great nation, from the villages of Uttar Pradesh to the hamlets of Tamil Nadu, to expose the ground reality. Are funds reaching the intended beneficiaries? Are local bodies empowered to address the needs of their people? The answer, viewers, is a resounding no. Corruption, bureaucratic inertia, and political interference plague the system, leaving millions of Indians feeling marginalized and voiceless. This is not about blame games. This is about justice, about empowering the citizens of this nation. we will expose the gaping chasm between the lofty ideals of devolution and the harsh realities on the ground. Chapter 4. Guardians of the Republic, Constitutional Authorities under Scrutiny. The Indian Constitution, in its wisdom, established a system of checks and balances, entrusting key responsibilities to institutions and individuals. But have these guardians of our democracy lived up to their mandate? The President, the Supreme Court, the Election Commission? These are not just names, viewers. These are institutions that hold the very fabric of our nation together. But are they truly independent? Or are they puppets, dancing to the tune of their political masters? We expose the nexus between power and influence, the unholy alliances that threaten to undermine the very foundations of our republic. From controversial appointments to questionable judgments, no one is above scrutiny. This is not about disrespecting institutions, viewers. This is about holding them accountable to the people they are meant to serve. The time for complacency is over. The time for accountability is now. Chapter 5. The L.P.G era, Boon or Bane for governance. 1991, a watershed moment in India's economic history. The Berlin Wall had fallen, globalization was the new mantra, and India, under the leadership of P.V. Narasimha Rao, embarked on the path of liberalization, privatization, and globalization. But did this economic revolution come at the cost of our social fabric? Did the L.P.G reforms empower the people or only a select few? We dissect the impact of L.P.G on governance, examining its successes and failures. Did it usher in an era of economic prosperity, or did it exacerbate inequality and social divisions? The Panchayati Raj system, envisioned as a tool for grassroots empowerment, seems to have become a playground for corrupt politicians and vested interests. This is not about nostalgia, viewers. This is about understanding the forces that have shaped modern India. We will expose the myths and realities of the L.P.G era and its lasting impact on our nation's governance. Chapter 6. The Unseen Hand, Navigating the Labyrinth of Statutory Bodies. Beyond the corridors of Parliament and the hallowed halls of the Supreme Court lies a complex web of statutory, regulatory, and quasi-judicial bodies. These institutions, often operating under the radar, wield immense power over our lives. From the Reserve Bank of India to the Securities and Exchange Board of India, from the National Human Rights Commission to the Central Information Commission, we delve into the murky waters of bureaucratic power. Are these bodies truly independent? Or are they susceptible to political pressure and manipulation? We expose the lack of transparency and accountability that plagues these institutions, leaving citizens at their mercy. This is not about demonizing bureaucracy, viewers, but about demanding efficiency, transparency, and accountability. These bodies were created to serve the people, not to lord over them. It's time they remembered that. Chapter 7. A Nation Divided, The Battle for Rights and Justice. India, a land of diversity, a melting pot of cultures, religions, and languages. But is this diversity reflected in the lived experiences of its citizens? Are the rights guaranteed by our Constitution equally accessible to all? From the Dalit community, who continue to face discrimination and violence, to the women of this nation, who are fighting for equal rights and opportunities, to the children, who are our future, we amplify the voices of the marginalized and the oppressed. We examine the various legislative acts that have been enacted to protect the rights of these vulnerable sections of society. But are these acts merely paper tigers? Is justice a distant dream for millions of Indians? This is not about playing the victim card, viewers. This is about holding a mirror to our society and asking ourselves some tough questions. Are we truly a nation that respects and protects the rights of all its citizens? Gone are the days when India was content playing second fiddle on the global stage. Today, India aspires to be a Vishwaguru, a global leader. But are we punching above our weight, or are we still beholden to global powers? From the United Nations to the World Trade Organization, from our relationships with superpowers like the United States and China, to our engagement with our neighbors in South Asia, we dissect India's foreign policy. Are we assertive enough in protecting our national interests? Are we doing enough to address global challenges like climate change and terrorism? This is not about jingoism, viewers. This is about understanding India's place in the world and the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead. We will expose the hypocrisy of the international system and the need for India to chart its own course. The Indian judiciary, often hailed as the last bastion of hope for the common man. But is it truly independent, or is it susceptible to pressure from the executive and the legislature? From the imposing edifice of the Supreme Court to the crowded courtrooms across the country, we delve into the workings of the Indian judicial system. We examine its structure, its functions, and its limitations. We dissect landmark judgments, controversial verdicts, and the growing backlog of cases that plague our courts. We expose the challenges faced by ordinary citizens in accessing justice, the delays, the corruption, the lack of transparency. This is not about undermining the judiciary, viewers. This is about demanding accountability and reform. The time has come to strengthen our judicial institutions and ensure that justice is delivered swiftly and fairly to all. The Indian Constitution, at its core, is a document that enshrines the hopes and aspirations of 1 billion people. It guarantees fundamental rights, outlines fundamental duties, and lays down directive principles to guide our nation towards a just and equitable society. But are these rights, duties, and principles merely ink on paper? Or do they translate into tangible benefits for the citizens of this nation? We delve into the heart of the Constitution, examining the spirit behind these provisions and their relevance in contemporary India. We expose the gap between the ideals enshrined in the Constitution and the ground realities faced by millions of Indians. This is not just about legal jargon, viewers. This is about the very soul of our nation. It's time we breathed life into these fundamental rights, duties, and principles, and created an India that truly lives up to the dreams of our founding fathers. Viewers, countrymen, patriots, we've journeyed through the labyrinthine corridors of power, exposed the fault lines in our democracy, and confronted the uncomfortable truths about our nation's governance. But this is not the end. This is just the beginning. The Indian Constitution, for all its flaws, remains a beacon of hope, a testament to the dreams of a nation yearning to be free. It's up to each and every one of us to safeguard its legacy, to hold those in power accountable, and to fight for the India we deserve. Stay tuned, stay vigilant, and stay engaged. This is our republic, and we will not be silenced.